Hey guys, it's Kat and I am back today to talk about some project panning tips. Now, my last video that was up was my 1 month check-in for my hashtag Team Project Pan 2022. And when I did my introduction in January, I had a lot of people in the comments talking about how they're thinking of starting a project pan this year and they're a little bit nervous about it, not too sure about it. Now, I did do a tips and tricks video about project panning quite a few years ago now, but I thought I'd give an updated one and one that's a little bit more concise. I think that video was a bit chatty, so I thought I'll just try to make this snappy with some tips that I would give people who are starting out with a project pan. So my first tip is to find a format that works for you. There's a lot of different types of formats out there. It's probably pays to do a little bit of research. So do a bit of a Google search, look up forums, there's Facebook groups, there's of course YouTube videos, and try to find a project that looks interesting to you or feels like it's something that you can do. So I've been project panning now for 7 years. It's a long time. And it's only been the last couple of years that I really found my groove with a format that I really enjoy. If you do want to know about the format that I use, I will link my introduction to my Team Project Pan for 2022. And I'll explain how I do my project pans there. But there are a lot of different types of project pans. The one that I'm doing is a year-long sort of full face project pan. There's often short ones, so maybe 2 months long, so you can sort of go really hard and fast in 2 months and that's it. So if you just want to test the waters for a short period of time rather than doing the long marathon, it might suit you better. There are people that do like nail polish ones, just dedicated to one type of product, so like eyeshadows, skincare. There's all different ways that you can do your project pan, and I think if you tailor it to what suits you, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. My next tip to beginners is to choose products that you like but no longer want. So that might be that they're getting too old, they've been in your collection for a while, maybe you're not loving the color but you like the texture. Whatever it happens to be, choose products you enjoy. Because if you hate the products, you're really not going to use them, you're not going to see progress, and it's going to make you feel like shit. So I recommend to people starting out to choose products you like. Hate panning is a real thing. So there's people that love to choose products they hate and they force themselves to use them and get good use out of them. I feel like that is a more advanced thing and it takes a certain personality to want to do that. I don't really enjoy doing that myself. But at the same time, I wouldn't recommend panning your most favorite products unless they're getting old and for some reason you want them out of your collection. Because I find that if you do pan something you love, you're just going to replace it as soon as you finish it up. So it's just fast tracking having to buy a new one. So I find that middle range of products, like you like them, they give a good effect, but you don't love them and they're just like taking up room in your collection, they're the products I tend to pan. At the same time, I wouldn't recommend panning products you don't use. So if you're the type of person that never wears blush, don't put blush in your project pan. Again, it's going to demotivate you. You're not going to see progress. So I would just stick to the products that you use on a daily basis. If you only use a little bit of mascara, a little bit of lip gloss and sunscreen, if you want to do a project pan, focus on those items. You don't need to do a full face, like a full beat makeup routine just to do a project pan. That's not what it's about. It's about using up your collection and clearing out products you no longer want. So just use what you're willing to use on a daily basis. Another product I wouldn't include is a product that you like to change up every day. For me personally, I love to change up my lip product on the daily. There's very few days I wear the same lip product 2 days in a row. So panning lipsticks are not for me because I can't commit to using the same lipstick every day. So if you're like me and there's a certain part of your makeup routine or skincare routine that you like to change every day, might even be your perfume. You might have 20 perfumes and you like to rotate through them and not use the same one every day. That's fine. Just don't pan that because again, you're going to get frustrated at having to use the same product every day or get frustrated that you're not seeing any progress. So part of project panning is also about having some insight into your habits. And yeah, if you're not going to use something at all or you like to change something up, I wouldn't include those products in your project pan. And this should go without saying, but you'll be surprised at how many comments I receive on my videos of people saying, I don't understand the concept of project panning, or they say, I'd love to do a project pan, but I just don't have much makeup. Don't project pan if you don't have an excess of product. So what I mean by that is if you have one makeup bag with one foundation, one concealer, one mascara, one lip gloss, and that's all you use, don't do a project pan. Again, it's just gonna make you use up your products faster and just have to replace them faster. The whole point of a project pan is a way to sort of correct overbuying of makeup or skincare or beauty products. And it's just a way to target those items to use them up before they get too old, before you have to throw them out. So if you do have too many products, if you're like me and you've got under your bathroom sink just like a graveyard of old serums and moisturizers, that's what project panning is trying to minimize. It's trying to get rid of all that excess. If you don't have the excess, don't do a project pan. It's not for you. My next tip is to keep your project pan products away from the rest of your products. So for example, if you're doing a makeup one, have a little tub, put your products in the tub and keep them away from the rest of your makeup collection. Same goes for skincare or body products, whatever it happens to be. In your bathroom, have a section of your project pan products and keep it away from the rest of your products, because it's a way to force yourself to just use those. So get your little tub, use those every day, and it sort of reduces the urge to want to go in your drawers and cupboards and start playing with other things. So I found that to be a really great way to just remember what project pan products I'm using and to just reach for those on a daily basis. The good thing about doing that is that after a couple of weeks, it would form a bit of a habit. So you'll get into the routine of using those products, and it actually becomes a really good thing because you end up doing your makeup a lot faster. You know how the products work inside and out, so you generally have pretty good makeup application, and it does take away from the distraction of, oh, which foundation should I use today? If it's right there and it's right in front of you and it's away from everything else, you're more inclined to use it. Now, that does not mean that you have to use your products every single day for 7 days a week until you've used them up. Of course, that's where you'll get best results. You'll see most progress, but I tend to give myself a break. Back in the day when I was working full-time in an office, I used to use my project pan stuff Monday to Friday. Again, it was really easy. It was right there in front of me. I didn't have to look for things, and became really fast at doing my makeup, and it was really reliable. So I enjoyed doing that during the week. Then on the weekends, I would let myself go crazy in my makeup collection, and I'll use everything else, and I'll use fun things and all that kind of stuff. So I do think it's important to give yourself a break and let yourself play with other makeup, because sometimes people find that they get really bored with what they're doing, or they feel like they're neglecting the rest of their makeup. So you do need to find a good balance between using your project pan stuff and playing with the rest of your makeup. These days, I find what I like to do is have my project pan products as my core makeup. So generally my base, my powder, my bronzer, all that kind of basic stuff, eyebrows, whatever, mascara. And then sometimes I let myself play with different eyeshadows, different lip products, maybe a different blush or highlighter, but I keep all the rest of it consistent. So the majority of my makeup is project pan products, but I sometimes play with other items just for fun. The next tip would be to keep track of your progress. And I know that if you're not creating videos or you're not doing updates on Instagram or whatever it happens to be, this might seem like a really weird, tedious thing to do, but it is a really good motivator. So for example, I like to mark where I'm up to each month on a bottle that I can see the rest in line. I'll use nail polish to mark them so I can see the progress I'm making. And it's a good idea because it allows you to predict how long it'll take to use up the product. So you know you've got a bit of an end goal, but you also know that if you haven't been using it as much as you could, you can also up the progress. Other ways that I keep track, I take photos on my phone of pan products. So if a pan's getting bigger, I can compare the two photos. And another common way to measure progress is weight. So if you've got a product that you can't see the settle line, you can't see visible progress, then you can also weigh it and see how much product you use each month. My second last tip is to introduce products that are at different stages of being used up. So you might have a foundation that you had as a backup in the back of your drawer and you've had it there for 3 years, it's never been opened, and you're like, I should really use that. And you can pull that out, start using it from full. That's a great thing to do, but it will take months and months and months of time to see progress or to see it finished up. So I also recommend balancing it with products that are almost finished. So you feel like you're seeing finished products and results all the way through your project. I do think that's really important for motivation, because if you can use up at least one product or see really good progress on at least 1 or 2 products every month, it will keep you going. If you have a whole bunch of almost full products and it's going to take you minimum 3 months to see progress, it is really hard to get motivated at the start, especially if you're new to a project pan. So for me, the only thing I can use up really fast is a powder. So if it's a pressed powder, I can use it up in 1 to 2 months. Foundations, if I use them every day, maybe 3 to 4 months I can use them up. But that's like every day and the only foundation I use. Eyeliners might also take a couple of months. Mascaras might take 3 to 4 months, sometimes a bit longer. But then you can get into products like highlighters, blushes, cream eyeshadows in general. They can take over a year to use up. So you really have to make sure you've got a good balance of products that you'll start seeing progress on to keep going. And my last tip is have fun with it. If you're struggling and you're not feeling it for a week, who cares? You don't need to see progress every month. This is makeup. It's using makeup. I have seen people in forums really like take it super seriously and get really down on themselves if they're not seeing enough progress. It's about using and playing with makeup. So if it's no longer fun, don't do it, but also just take the pressure off. Have fun with it. It's a very light-hearted project. It's a way to declutter your collection, but also use up your products. And again, makeup should be fun. So yeah, don't overthink it. If you don't like something, take it out, replace it with something else. It's not that big a deal. So those are my tips anyway. I hope some people found them helpful, especially if you're new to project panning, if you're a month in and you're like freaking out because you haven't seen the progress or you've chosen the wrong products. Hopefully these tips are helpful. If you have been doing project panning for a while and you have other tips for people that are thinking of starting one, leave them in the comments down below and I will see you in the next video. Bye.